Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV Media News live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Muyi Agumofwebe. The political crisis in Rivers State appears set for a resolution after the parties involved signed a peace deal at a meeting held at the presidential villa in Abuja. The meeting, called by President Bola Tinubu, was attended by Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his predecessor Nyesom Wike, and other political leaders in the state. Aside Fubara and Wike, others who signed the resolution document include the PDP chairperson in Rivers State, Aaron Chukwuemeka, and the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amoewule. The resolution was also signed by Rivers Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu and a factional Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Martin Chike. The APC chairperson in Rivers State and the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, also signed the document. Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has said the federal government is taking measures to alleviate the high cost of transportation by granting waivers to operators in the air, road, and rail transportation systems. President Tinubu gave the assurance during a meeting with members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria at the presidential villa in Abuja. According to a statement signed by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuru Ngelale, the consideration was as a result of the challenges faced by travelers during the festive season. The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has disclosed plans to review activities of primary health care and routine immunization. This was disclosed at a quarterly review meeting held in Abuja in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Fauziya Lukman has details.
The quarterly reviewing meeting is in conjunction with the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Healthcare Delivery to make significant contributions to the development and strengthening of primary healthcare in Nigeria. The meeting saw major traditional rulers in attendance, with Dr. Saad Abubakar, the Sultan of Sokoto, in his remarks, saying,
"Issues of vaccine like the HPV and whatever it is, we will at the closed door meeting discuss such things, see what we can do, because there are already some controversies, people writing things in the social media. So at the closed door meeting, inshallah, we'll discuss some of these issues, see how we will also arrive at what we should tell our people. We are the representatives of the people."
Speaking on reducing diseases through primary healthcare services, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare said preparations are underway for the training 120,000 frontline health workers.
Some of what we are going to do in the period ahead includes building the frontline health workforce. We are planning, in fact, as we speak, preparations are underway for retraining of 120,000 frontline health workers at the primary healthcare level. We're expanding the primary healthcare facilities that will receive direct facility financing from roughly about 8,000 at the moment, which we would work to make functional to start with, and expanding them to 17,000, almost 18,000 by the end of 4 years.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aina, told reporters that the agency is on health system revamp project, adding that barriers need to be removed for the usage of the services.
There are accessibility issues. How do we make sure the services are taken to them and they can reach it? For specifically to outbreaks that you mentioned, the responsible thing to do is what we are doing. We are mounting outbreak responses in terms of campaigns, but it's one thing to do campaigns, it's another thing to do a good campaign. You cannot do a good campaign without collaboration with the communities, that give you access, but that also mobilize the people to come out and receive the trusted interventions.
The critical role of traditional and religious leaders cannot be underestimated, as it serves as a bridge for engaging the people at the community level. Fauziya Lukman, Global TV News.
Thank you, Fauziya. At least 4.7 million girls have been vaccinated against the human papillomavirus, also called HPV, in the first phase of the vaccine rollouts in Nigeria. The rollout, which commenced in late October, aims to reach about 7.7 million teenage girls with the life-saving vaccine to protect them against cervical cancer and other related diseases. Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Muyi Aino, disclosed this at the fourth quarter 2023 review meeting of the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Healthcare Delivery in Abuja. Aino said as of last week, about 4.7 million teenage girls had been reached with the vaccine across 14 states and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, stating that though there was an initial strong pushback by anti-vaccine campaigners, the traditional leaders had ensured accurate information. The Territory High Court in Abuja has barred former and social development Pauline Talon from holding public office. In a judgment delivered on Monday, the court condemned Talon's disparaging comments against the judiciary concerning a decision of the Federal High Court in Adamawa State last year. The Federal High Court in Yola, Adamawa State, rejected. Delivering judgments on the case on Monday, the court described Talon's comments as unconstitutional, careless, reckless, and disparaging. And forgery, as he spends his fifth day after he had been declared wanted by the Commission over corruption allegations regarding a failed multi-billion-dollar Mambila hydropower project. The Commission sources said charges have been drafted and would soon be filed in court and served on the former minister. The sources said he was declared wanted because he jumped the administrative bail granted to him. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has stated its readiness to conduct by-election to fill existing vacancies in state and federal legislatures. At a meeting with leaders of political parties and chaired by Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, INEC said conduct of the by-elections and rerun polls across the country have provisionally been scheduled for Thursday, February 1, 2024. Sharon Ajay completes this report.
Following series of litigations resulting in court orders, the Commission stated that it has an obligation to conduct rerun elections in 34 federal and state constituencies made up of 1 in senatorial district, 11 federal constituencies and 22 state constituencies.
The Election Petition Appeal Tribunals have ordered the Commission to conduct rerun elections in 34 constituencies made up of 1 senatorial district, 11 federal constituencies, and 22 state assembly constituencies. However, the 34 constituencies constitute 2.8% of the 1,191 petitions filed by litigants.
Speaking further, Professor Yakubu noted that the Commission will conduct by-elections to fill vacancies created as a result of resignation or death of elected individuals, adding that a confirmed date for the election and a comprehensive timetable will be released at the end of the meeting with leaders of political parties.
The Commission is also required to conduct by-elections to fill vacancies arising from the death or resignation of members of the National and State Houses of Assembly. The Commission intends to combine and conduct the 2 categories of elections on the same day.
Sharon Ajay, reporting for Global TV News.
No fewer than 61 migrants, including women and children, have drowned following a shipwreck off Libya. The International Organization for Migration, IOM, says the boat has set off from Libyan city of Zuara with about 86 persons on board. The route offers migrants entry to Europe via Italy. The United Nations agency said most of the victims of the accident were from Nigeria, Gambia, and other African countries. IOM spokesman Flavio Di Giacomo said more than 2,250 people had died this year on the central Mediterranean migrant routes, adding that's a dramatic figure which demonstrates that unfortunately not enough is being done to save lives at sea. Some retired soldiers who fought on the side of the federal government during the Civil War have threatened to embark on a protest on January 15, 2024 over their unpaid pensions 40 years after the war. The veterans, in a statement by their national coordinator, Babawande Philip, and National Secretary Okewi Bayo, lampooned the federal government for forsaking them despite their sacrifices to keep Nigeria one, stating that they are displeased with the way the successive governments have treated them. They said despite several letters and other entreaties to call the attention to the plight, they have been neglected. You're watching Midday News live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When Midday News returns, NNPCL targets 2 million barrels per day of crude oil in 2024. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this short break. Please don't go away. This is Global Television bringing you live updates of the Midday News. So thank you for staying with us. Let's jump to the foreign scene now, where the European Union has announced formal infringement proceedings against Elon Musk's X platform under a law cracking down on illegal online content after identifying disinformation related to Hamas's October 7 attacks in Israel. It is the first such step Brussels has taken against a major online platform since the year introducing the Digital Services Act, a sweeping piece of EU legislation that cracks down, that heightens online campaigns' responsibility for content moderation. An explosion rocked a fuel depot in Guinea capital Conakry on Monday, injuring dozens of people, according to a doctor and local residents. The explosion, accompanied by a fire, occurred shortly after midnight in the administrative and business district of Kaloum near the ports, according to reports. The explosion sent thick black clouds of smoke into the sky on Monday morning as residents fled the area where the blast had occurred. Witnesses said dozens of civil protection vehicles had reached the area, but Guinean authorities did not immediately comment on the situation. Stranded residents have sheltered on a hospital roof as flash floods swamped northeastern Australia on Monday, with raging waters severing roads and flushing crocodiles into towns. Rescue teams evacuated more than 300 people overnight, police said, and military helicopters were dispatched to help inundated areas cut off by the floods. The Australian military used 2 heavy-lifting Chinook helicopters to ferry supplies and personnel into flood-stricken towns. Police Commissioner Carroll said authorities were thankful they had not seen any deaths or serious injuries during the emergency so far. A man had gone missing and thousands of people in the Philippines were sheltering in evacuation centers yesterday as tropical storm Jelawat hit the large southern island of Mindanao, causing scattered flooding and power cuts. The storm weakened as it raked across Mindanao after making landfall in the morning, but the state weather service said the threat of floods and landslides remained. Police in Mane municipality, where Jelawat made landfall, reported 1 man missing at the swollen Casalman River that bisects the coastal town of about 40,000 people. Kenya and the European Union on Monday signed a long-negotiated, strong trade agreements to increase the flow of goods between the two markets, President William Ruto said, as Brussels pursues stronger economic ties with Africa. The Economic Partnership Agreement, also called EPA, will give Kenya duty-free and quota-free access to the EU, its biggest export market, while European goods will receive progressive tariff reductions. EU Chief von der Leyen said the partnership was a win-win situation on both sides and called on other African nations to join the pact, which came after years of negotiations that concluded in June. Only 0.1% of targeted poor and vulnerable households have received the federal government's recently launched cash transfer of 25,000 naira per month. This is according to data from the World Bank's lead economist for Nigeria, Alex Sienert, during his presentation of the Nigeria Development Update. According to his presentation document, the federal government plans to make cash transfers to low-income households paying 25,000 naira per month for 3 months. Senate disclosed that currently 1.5 million households have received money, and the program is expected to reach 5 million households by the end of December. Still on business, the Executive Secretary of Tertiary Education Fund, TED Fund, Sonia Chono, says the board has disbursed over 400 billion naira to tertiary institutions across the country in 2023. Chono disclosed this on Monday in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, while speaking to journalists during TED Fund's management retreat. He said that the amount represented the backlog of previous years that were not accessed and disbursement for the ongoing year. Chono said the funds disbursed were in 2 phases, and the first phase was in 2023 with the approved disbursement in the neighborhood of 320 billion naira. Chono further added that TED Fund cannot be extended to private institutions for now due to the extant law of the country. The Nigerian Senate has called for an independent budgetary provision for Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCAM, by separating its budget from the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Chairman, Senate Committee on Diaspora and Non-Governmental Organizations, Victor Ume, made the call on Monday in Abuja while presenting budget defense reports of the committee before the Appropriation Committee. He stated that Nigerians in diaspora distributed to the nation's development maximally, adding that $24 billion was remitted to Nigeria in 2022 by Nigerians living abroad. Retirees under the Contributory Pension Scheme have demanded the implementation of minimum pensions. They made their request known in a statement titled "Demand for the Full Implementation of Contributory Pension Scheme in Nigeria," which was signed by the President, Contributory Pensioners Union of Nigeria, Eyeleye Branch Ibadan, Matthew Shitu. In the statement, they sought the support of Nigeria's President, Bola Tinubu, Chief of Staff to the President, the Senate President, and Director General of the National Pension Commission. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has expressed plans to produce 2 million barrels of crude oil per day in 2024, stating that this will significantly boost the 1.67 million barrels of oil and condensates currently produced daily and enable Nigeria to meet the 2 million BPD target set by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. However, Akinyerule admitted that meeting such a target would require overhauling Nigeria's security architecture to address pipeline vandalism and other mechanisms deployed in oil theft. And that's a wrap on the media news. It came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Uyi Agumofwe. Thank you very especially for watching. Up next, it's Lunch Global with Chung Annabelle Joseph.